Student, this is the homework help for Unit 3, Lesson D. You should now be on the homework pages. It says mark GIF on the diagram. Determine if the triangles are similar and which shortcut may apply. Angle, angle similarity, side, side, side similarity, or side, angle, side similarity. Use the flow chart below to document the why of your answer. So GIF stands for, you want to mark given information, anything that's implied because of the given, and then freebies such as vertical angles and reflexive angles. So taking a look at this first one, we're going to work with what we're given. We see if we go side to side, we get a 1-to-2 ratio. And here we go side to side, so we get a 1-to-2 ratio. So I know I have a pair of sides equal ratios, and another pair of side ratios equal. And then implied information, there's no parallel line, so I don't have any armpits of the Z, but there is a freebie, and that is, of course, we have bow tie angles or vertical angles. So that's an angle. So I see right now that I have the shortcut side angle side. So what you want to do is you document what you have on your diagrams here. For example, the very first set of sides, we can do this. We can do UH over HF equals a 1-to-2 ratio. Why do we know that? Because it was just given to us. And you want to document, that's our first side ratio. You want to go ahead and document the other two steps. Make sure you get the becauses and then fill out this bottom. Right-hand side, same thing. You want to walk through what's been given to you, what's implied, and what is freebies, and then figure out what shortcut's going on there and document that in the flow chart. Taking a look at 13. 13, it says first we want to trace triangle JKL and then also the parallel line. So let's trace JKL first. JKL. Now we want to trace the parallel lines. We're told they're parallel. And now we want to trace LMN. And we want to pull apart and redraw on the right, JKL from LMN. This would be JKL separate from LMN. And these guys were parallel. Now you want to work through these proportions by tracing very carefully and very slowly. And sometimes you're going to use this left side, sometimes you're going to use the right side, depending on the given information. It's a wise idea to try both. For example, let's try JM and ML. So if I go to the right, I try to trace JM, there is no JM. So I can't use the right, but so I look for a JM. There is a JM here on the left. So I'm going to trace with this. JM over ML is something over NL. So my something here is going to be KN. So sometimes you use the left, sometimes you use the right, depending on what you are tracing. Let's try another one on the right-hand side. It says we're going to work with LM. I have an LM over here. Let's see what else we have. We have LJ, which is right here, over LK. So look what we're doing. We're going LJ over LK is equal to LM over MLN. It matches. So your goal is to attempt to match exactly both the segments and the direction. Keep tracing until you fill all of those out. In number 14, it says we're going to be working with the non-parallel sides. We're going to pull out the segments, and we're going to do segment over segment and solve. Number 14, for example, we're told that AB is parallel to DE. And let's give in our segments here, DA is 15. So DA is 15. And CD is 12. And CE is 20. And we want to find EB, which is, we'll call this X. So now we trace CD over DA is going to equal CE over EB. So we're going to use this proportion to solve for EB. CD was 12, DA was 15, CE was 20, and EB is your unknown. We're going to call it X. $15 is almost exactly the same. Trace out the segments. I recommend you color code this. So this one, you want to take a look. Since we have sides which are not parallel, we can go like this and just look at all the pieces. And we can go green over green equals purple over purple. Green over green equals purple over purple. So I could go that way, or I could go this direction if I wanted to. It really doesn't matter. What does matter is that you match and mirror. Match and mirror. Whatever direction you start with, you must mirror it properly. It says, to the right, technically below, is a street map of part of the Washington, D.C. We have R Street, we have Q Street, and we have O Street, and they are parallel. So put your arrow feathers on there. 7th Street is perpendicular to all three, so make a right angle. 7th Street makes a right angle, which makes sense because if one's a right angle, they all must be if they're parallel. R and Q are exactly one city block apart, quarter of a mile or 1,320 feet apart. The other measurements on the map. We want to find X and Y. So we're dealing with segments here. So again, the name of the game is simply to match and mirror. Watch and trace. So to solve for X, I could go blue over green equals blue over green, or I could go left over right equals left over right. It honestly doesn't matter. Either way, set up a proportion, solve for X. Once you've solved for X, set up another proportion and solve for Y. For this last one, we want to determine if. Notice it's if, don't assume. It's if DE is parallel. So I'm going to make the parallel and then put a question mark. We're going to show work. So you want to ask yourself whether or not they're parallel. Now we learned today if they were parallel, there would be a certain relationship between these segments. Let me keep my colors straight here. There'd be a certain relationship between these segments. Why don't you go ahead and mathematically test that relationship and see if it works? If it does, then they are parallel. If it doesn't, they are not.